According to Sephora, the new makeup that I'm going to share with you in today's video is incredible. It has almost 5-star reviews across the board. And just going by that, people might think these have to be must-have products, but they literally just launched. So how are they this popular already? By now, we all know about incentivized reviews. These are those platforms like Influenster and BzzAgent, and people write reviews in exchange for free products. And because just about every single new product that launches is part of these programs, the reviews tend to flood in before the product is even available to the general public. Now, I'm not saying these reviews are lying, but let's be real for a second. If you're getting a product for free instead of spending your hard-earned money on it, you are way more likely to be more positive and less critical. And the brands are definitely counting on this to help boost their reviews before the launch of a product. So in the past, these incentivized reviews were just for a handful of products that you'd see on the Sephora or Ulta websites, but now it's pretty much every single product. So what I've had to start doing is looking at the negative reviews first. The 5-star ones tend to all say the same thing. It's amazing, it changed my life. These are not things that I want to hear. I want to know what people didn't like, because I think those are far more interesting and a little bit more telling about the product. So today I'm going to share my thoughts on some brand new products from Sephora that I've recently been trying out and checking out some of the negative reviews and whether or not I agree with those or the more positive, glowing ones. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, guys, so let's start with the first product. This is from Makeup Forever. It is their new Super Boost Skin Tint. So this already has a close to 5-star rating with 393 reviews. It comes in 18 shades and costs $36. So it claims to be a hydrating, plumping skin tint with buildable, sheer to medium coverage that leaves a radiant, healthy skin finish and a non-oily feel. So the positive reviews that I saw on the Sephora website all say that it's lightweight, it's non-greasy, it has light coverage and a hydrating feel, which is basically what the claims are that I just read. But the last thing I want to do is hear people just regurgitating what the brand is already claiming about the product. I want to know the flip side and whether there might be any issues with this product. So let's take a look at some 1-star reviews. All right, I'm just sorting by the lowest rating. Okay, so the first one says, no cool tones. This line is an incredible disappointment, lacking inclusivity. Why on earth include a fair warm but not a fair cool tone when overwhelmingly more fair complexions lean cool? Total fail. This one says, too much fragrance. I have sensitive skin and I had a reaction after the second use. Besides that, the formula is nice. The next one says, I so wanted to love this product. I'm dry and the patchiness upon application just highlighted the dryness and made me look super flaky. Perhaps the dewier princesses among us or those with oily to combo will have much better luck. This one says, I have been through every skin tint on the market, past and present, so I feel qualified to say this is a low to mid-tier tint. There's absolutely nothing remarkable about it. Maybe if you've never used a fantastic skin tint before, you would be wowed by this. But if you've used Lisa Eldridge, YSL New Skin, Laura Mercier, or heck, even Maybelline Fit Me, you'll be disappointed in this. It looks makeup-y, it applies patchy and streaky, it sits on top of the skin. Oddly, it also made my eyes water all day long. Zero desirable effects from this one, except the shade match. I'm always fair neutral in every line and the match was spot on. Sadly, it's going back to Sephora, the middest of mid skin tints. So the brand did send me 2 different shades to try. I got one which says it's for fair to light skin with neutral undertones, and then 2 which it says is for fair skin with warm undertones, which that commenter was talking about. And I went ahead and swatched these on my cheek just to see which one was best for me. I think shade 1 was definitely too light and it was a little more neutral, but shade 2 was definitely too yellow, even though it was the right amount of depth. So right away, I do agree with that comment that brands are always lacking cool tones for fair to light skin. This is just a constant problem that I run into, as most foundations tend to look warm on on me. So anyway, as far as the formula goes, I agree with the positive comments in that this is really lightweight, it's non-greasy, it has a sheer to light coverage that can be built up really easily, but I also don't agree that it's hydrating at all. This product dries down so fast. I think that could be due to the denatured alcohol that's in the formula. As somebody with dry skin, that is an ingredient that I tend to avoid if I can because it can often make my skin look drier. Not always, but it does depend on the formula. And another thing I noticed during application with this is it doesn't spread very far. Because of how quickly it dries down, I had to keep going back and squeezing more and more out of the tube just to cover my face. I ended up squirting it like 4 or 5 times. So in the end, I just didn't love how this looked on my skin. I felt like it was streaky, it didn't stick to my nose, and it clung to dryness on my chin also. And it made my skin look a little bit more textured than usual. This does also contain fragrance, so I know somebody had mentioned that in one of the negative comments. So that's something to consider as well. And then after I wore this for a couple of hours, I did a check-in in the car in natural lighting. And to be honest, I liked it even less at that point. My skin looked so dry on my chin, which is a trouble spot for me. A lot of foundations look dry there, but it also looked dry on my cheek and upper lip, which normally aren't an issue for me. It gave me lines that I didn't even realize I had, and it just also seemed to settle into my forehead lines and make fine lines between my eyebrows more apparent. Again, ones that I normally don't see when I wear other foundations, but with this one, they were just sort of front and center. So is this a bad product? No, it's just not for me, unfortunately. When I look back at all of the negative reviews on the Sephora website, the ones that talked about this being too dry had self-identified as having dry or normal skin. There's a little section where they can put what skin type they have. And so I noticed that the people with the drier skin types complained about this being too dry for them, whereas the people that have oily or combination skin, the complaints were more about the shade range or their skin being irritated, but not as much about it looking dry. So I think if you are on the drier side like me, it's pretty safe to skip this one. If you have sensitive skin, you also may have trouble with this one because it has a lot of fragrance in it and potentially irritating ingredients like grapefruit extract. But that being said, if you're oily or combo and you dislike all of those heavy, greasy, really emollient skin tints that are out there and you find that they just slide around all over your face, this one might be one for you to check out because it's the driest formula of any skin tint that I've ever tried before. It just sets down so quickly that there's really no greasiness left behind. So as long as you could find a good shade match, I think it may be worth checking out. Next up, Makeup Forever also sent me their new Super Boost Hydrating and Plumping Lip Glosses. So these also have an almost 5-star rating on the Sephora website with 350 reviews, and they're $26 each. They come in 11 shades, 3 of which have shimmer. And they claim to be a hyaluronic acid infused all day moisturizing lip gloss with a mirror-like shine and a comfortable and cooling plumping effect. They also have 3 nourishing oils. They have camellia oil, cotton oil, and meadow foam. They also do contain menthol lactate, which is a cooling agent that you can sometimes find in gum and toothpaste. So it gives you that like minty fresh sort of feeling. And when I take a look at the reviews, of course, there are tons of incentivized reviews talking about just how hydrating and glassy these are. They also say that they make your lips look juicy and plumped and non-sticky and that the shades are beautiful. So there's a lot of praise for these glosses, but there were also some negative comments. So let's check those out. Right away, several of them are about the taste or smell. The first one says, the taste and smell is just horrible. It is so perfumed. I even tried to chew gum, but I couldn't stand it. It's such a pretty color. I am very disappointed. Another one says, the strongest, most horrible cologne smell. I literally felt like I swallowed some cologne. For the first time in my life, 10 plus year Sephora customer, I've asked for a return. This one says, tastes perfumey and bitter, a gooey mess when I put it on with the applicator. It migrated inside my lips and piled up or pilled up, I don't know which one they were trying to say, in the corners of my mouth and filled into my lip creases. It looks ridiculous and it doesn't plump. This one says, I wanted to love these glosses so badly, but the formulas are just strange. Very sticky, but like stringy sticky. The fragrance is sweet vanilla floral. They're pretty on and plump, but the applicator is a mess. I opened it away from myself and over a sink when I use it out of fear of it projecting everywhere. It has a nice mint plumping effect, but overall this is a miss with packaging. The concept is great. The product is disappointing. So yeah, basically these reviews covered the majority of the complaints that I saw. There were a lot more negative reviews, but just scanning through all of them, these were like the biggest issues that people had. So Makeup Forever did send me the entire range, all 11 glosses, but I just wanted to try one after reading the reviews because I thought if I open all of these and I hate them, that is just so wasteful. So I decided to try the shade Daring Candy. And I have to say, I do like the applicator. It's pointed, it's really cushiony, but I do agree with what the commenter was saying about it squirting out everywhere because the applicator is a little too thick for the neck of the jar. So you have to really kind of pull it out. And then I don't know if you caught that, but I just dripped it all over my table in front of me. When you pull it out, you have to kind of do it forcefully, and some of the gloss comes out with it and then sprays all over the place. So just one thing to keep in mind. And when I was applying this, I thought the gloss had a thick, cushiony feel like a liquid lip balm, so it feels extremely nourishing on your lips. I also did notice the cooling sensation immediately, which wasn't my favorite thing, but it wasn't awful. It didn't sting or burn or anything like that. And I did notice the perfumey scent, but for me, it wasn't as bad as some of the reviews made it out to be. I've tasted some pretty horrible glosses, especially ones that have SPF in them, and you can't get rid of the taste for hours. With these, I didn't love that it had a more floral scent, but even if I licked my lips, I didn't feel like it was something that stuck around or like I needed to take a drink or anything. Basically, it just didn't taste good or sweet, but it wasn't horrible. For me, the biggest issue with these is how they sit on your lips, and that was a common theme throughout the negative reviews. At first, I noticed that the color was migrating on my top lip and formed this line right along the top edge where it was gathering. And of course that went away as soon as I pressed my lips together, but I don't want to have to keep doing that throughout the day or worrying that it's going to keep gathering in a weird spot. Another thing I noticed, and I'm sorry if this is gross, but I want to show you what this looks like. When I open and close my mouth, the gloss on the bottom lip sticks to the gloss on the top lip, and it creates those little strings, which one commenter had mentioned as well. And I think this is just because it's so thick, it tends to bunch up. And that was what another commenter was saying about it, like pilling in the corners. I took a photo with my phone just showing my lip kind of pouted so that you can see what this looks like in the inner rim, and it's all clumping together in globs at each corner and also right in the middle of my lip, which really didn't look cute. So overall, I'm gonna again agree with the negative commenters here. Yes, these are super hydrating glosses. They feel really nice going on, but it's not worth how these bunch up and they don't look smooth on your lips. And then of course there's the fragrance, which to me wasn't a deal breaker. I didn't think it was as bad as people made it out, but it still is not my favorite fragrance when it comes to lip products. I'm also not a huge fan of the cooling formulas either. So for me, these were also an easy skip, which kind of pains me to say because I really enjoy Makeup Forever's products. Most things I try from them are incredible. It's just that these two new ones, I don't know, they just didn't work out for me. Okay, moving on, we have the new eyeshadow sticks from Ilia. These are called the Eye Stylist Shadow Sticks. They have an almost 5-star rating with 431 reviews. They're $32 each. They come in 20 shades, so 12 of them are shimmer and 8 of them are matte. According to the website, these claim to be a weightless shadow stick with an angled tip that glides seamlessly to deliver rich, crease-resistant pigment that lasts all day up to 12 hours. And the design allows you to use the flat side to put color all over your lid, or you can use the angled edge to line and define your eyes. So when it comes to the positive reviews, a lot of them say here that they are smooth, they're easy to blend out, and that they don't crease or fade very quickly. But there were also quite a few negative reviews as well. So let's start with the first one. This says, genuinely confused by the excellent reviews. I went to Sephora very excited to buy these. Not one of them swatched on my hand, except the green color when I pressed very hard. I don't know if they were dried out or what. Someone please help me understand. So first of all, I'm just going to interject here. I think they were dried out, and that's probably because the testers in Sephora are sitting with the caps open, which you're not going to store them like that at home. These do not feel dry to me at all. So I really don't think that that review applies. I think they did just truly dry out. The next one says, the packaging itself is poorly made and feels flimsy. I have hooded eyes and this was a smeary mess within 2 hours, even with setting spray. The next one says, very patchy on my eyelid and doesn't blend well. It could just be the matte finish formula, I'm not sure. This person said, I had some issues getting this to blend. It went on my eyes pretty smooth, but I couldn't get it to blend and it didn't look that good. The color was just okay, but blending was an issue. And this one also was one of the matte shades, it said. And then this one said, I wanted to love it, but was disappointed. The color is beautiful, but when applied, it just smeared, didn't stay in place, and immediately caked in the crease of my lid. These will not work as an eyeliner as advertised, as the tip is just not thin enough. So it seemed like the majority of the negative reviews were kind of complaining about how they don't blend and that they don't last on your eyes. So just for better context here, the ones that said that they didn't blend well were the matte formula, which I don't have. I only have the shimmery ones, but I have noticed with other shadow sticks that I've tried in the past, sometimes the matte ones feel differently than the shimmers. Sometimes the mattes are a little more stiff and harder to blend and can look patchy, whereas the shimmer ones just glide right on. So I'm not saying that that's the case with every brand. Some have really good matte options, but I have noticed that in the past, and I feel like that's probably what's happening here. And also I wanted to note that the negative reviews that said that these fade really quickly or were gathering in people's creases, the person had said on the side that they had oily or combination skin. Now, when it comes to my own experience with these, like I said, I've only tried the shimmer ones, and I'll just show you quickly how these apply. So I started out with the shade Adorn, which is supposed to be a shimmery taupe, and in person, it looked a little bit warmer than it did on the website. Not gonna lie, it looked a little more bronzy in real life, and it looked more grayish taupe online, but it's still a really beautiful shade. It has a super nice smooth glide, and it applies really easily. One thing I really liked about these is that they give you a lot of time to blend them out before they dry, so I thought they were very easy to work with. And again, I haven't tried the matte shades, so I can't speak for those, but the shimmers are great. I put it all over my lid and I just blended the top edge, and in the end, I thought the result was really nice. They had a nice amount of shimmer to them. They have these little micro glitters that catch the light, and to add even more pop then, I took the shade Venetian, which is a cool frosty pale pink, and I applied that one on top of Adorn. And I just went kind of from the inner corner of my eye to about the middle of my lid. So overall, I was really happy with the way that these looked initially. I thought they were very, very pretty. And as far as longevity goes, I took a photo in my car. Again, this was a couple hours after I applied them, and I thought the shadows still looked perfect. There was no fading, no creasing. So then in the evening time, right before I was gonna go to bed, this is after wearing them all day, I took some more photos, and I apologize if my bathroom lighting isn't the best, but I'll show you one eye first. So this is my right eye, and I thought it still looked really smooth with no creasing. I think the color had just faded a little bit more, but still not terrible. It wasn't gone. You could still see it. And then the other eye, which is my more hooded eye, had a little tiny bit of settling into the crease, which I think the crease is deeper on that eye. So that's something that often happens on me just because my eyes are uneven, but the color was still holding on despite that. So after reading all of the negative reviews about how much these faded and how they just sort of leave a wash of glitter behind at the end of the night, I did not experience that, but again, when I looked at the negative reviews that mentioned the longevity being a problem, everyone had oily or combo skin. There were no dry skin people that left negative reviews as far as that goes. So knowing that I have dry skin and I do not have oily eyelids whatsoever, so I usually don't have issues with eyeshadows fading, I personally thought that these were really nice. I do not agree with the negative reviews here, but again, that could just be because I have a different skin type. But if I did have to pick something to be negative about, it would be the price. These are $32 each, which is really steep for an eyeshadow crayon, and there's really good ones at the drugstore from L'Oreal and Milani. Those two formulas, I think, are very similar to these. So if the new Ilia ones are not in your budget, I would definitely check those out instead. And of course, if you have oily eyelids, you may want to just go ahead and skip these, because I do think the more emollient formula just is not going to hold up on you. So this is another one of those products that I think success depends heavily on your skin type. Next up, I also got the new Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Liquid Contour. So this has a 5-star rating with over 2,000 reviews already. It's $28. It comes in 7 shades and it claims to be a blendable, streak-free formula that goes on evenly and seamlessly, and it defines your features with the look of real shadows. The result is a naturally sculpted look that's never muddy, cakey, patchy, or greasy. It's made to last all day without fading, and it layers beautifully under and over makeup. So okay, the positive reviews on this say that it's very lightweight, that it blends easily. If you love Rare Beauty's blushes, you're gonna love this. It's not patchy. Basically all of the things that the description said. So what I thought was interesting about this is that the negative reviews said pretty much the opposite of everything the description said. So the first one said, it's really patchy, doesn't blend well, is like a serum, I'm probably gonna return. Someone said, how is it oily and patchy at the same time? But it is, LOL. The next one says, this is not cool toned at all, and I fear that the people who think this is cool toned aren't getting the point of a contour versus a bronzer. The color is at best a light bronzer. Contour is supposed to be a shadow, not add warmth. So again, the brand had said that this is supposed to mimic a shadow, but the reviews are saying, no, it doesn't. The next one says, terrible, patchy, doesn't blend easily. The color is also off, more like a bronzer than a contour. Pass. This one says, this contour is horrible. It pills and looks very unnatural, even though the color should have been perfect for me. Don't believe all these 5-star reviews. Look closely and you'll see they were all incentivized. Save your money. There are drugstore contours that work better. So I'm not going to go on and read too many. There were pages and pages of negative reviews with this one, and they all kind of said the same thing. It's too warm for contour and it's very patchy and dries too quickly. So I ended up trying out the shade Gentle, which is the lightest shade. And I also found this to be pretty warm toned for a contour. It wasn't orangey by any means, but it also wasn't gray like a shadow should be. So I thought maybe I could still use it as a liquid bronzer like the other reviews mentioned, but truthfully, this dries incredibly fast. You have to work so quickly to blend it out. And even then, I mean, I really worked at this. I hope you can tell on camera. I had to apply so much pressure on my skin with the brush just to get it to move. And it did look really patchy at first. But in the end, with a lot of blending and working really quickly, I was able to get this to look somewhat decent. But I also felt like, how could that have not removed my foundation because of all the rubbing that I had to do? And that day I was wearing the Makeup Forever skin tint that I reviewed at the beginning. And so it was hard to tell because that's a really sheer product to begin with. But if I was wearing something more full coverage, I could definitely imagine this just taking that right off with the amount of blending that you have to do. Formula wise, it reminds me a lot of the Flower Beauty contour wand that came out a while back. I remember everyone who reviewed that said the same thing, like it is so dry. And I think with this in particular, you have to do one cheek at a time. I know a lot of people who contour like to put the contour everywhere they're going to put it first and then go back and start blending. There's no way you could do that with this, because look at how much I struggled to blend that, and I put the dot on my cheek and blended it immediately. So if I let it sit for any length of time, it probably wouldn't blend out. So overall, I think the Makeup by Mario contour or the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand have way superior formulas to this. I think those just blend out so much more easily. They look smoother on your skin. And I do tend to prefer those creamier formulas that really allow you some time to blend it out. Now, if you have more of an oily skin type, maybe this wouldn't be so bad, but I know for me being so dry, my skin just wants to suck in cream products like as soon as I put them down. So they have to have a little bit of creaminess to them, which will then help me to blend it a little bit more easily. So overall, I didn't think that this looked terrible in the end, but I didn't like all of the work that I had to put in to get this to look okay. So I agree with the negative reviews on this one. I wanted to really love it, and I think this color would actually be really great as a cool tone bronzer, but I can't imagine using it all over my face as a bronzer either, because it just is so hard to blend out. All right, so next we have the new Glow Recipe Blush Drops. These are also sitting at an almost 5-star rating with 481 reviews. It's so amazing how so many products can have 5 stars. So anyway, these are $25. They come in 2 shades, and they claim to be a tinted cheek serum that plumps cheeks, brightens dark spots, and hydrates while providing a buildable, natural flush of color that melts into the skin. I did end up getting one of the 2 shades to try. This is Berry Flush, which is a cooler mauve tone. So these do have a ton of really great reviews. Again, a lot of incentivized reviews, and they're claiming that these are dewy, the colors are beautiful, they feel like skincare and blush in one. There's so many people saying that. Also that they look really natural if you like more of that no makeup look. Again, basically regurgitating the claims that the brand made. But let's see what some of the critics had to say. The first one says, I wouldn't recommend if you're medium to full makeup girly or if your skin is deeper than medium tan. The product is incredibly less pigmented. I have the berry shade, which I expected would be perfect for me, but as a medium girl and someone who likes natural medium coverage makeup, I had to put 2 full dips of the product on one cheek for the color to show. It's really for people who like just blush on their skincare and that's it vibe. This one says, I'm so confused. This is terrible. First of all, mine is orange, not this cute baby pink that it's supposed to be. And I understand this is a skincare blush, whatever that means, but it does not blend with makeup at all. The next one says, I wanted to love this, but it has an odd consistency and an orange tone that doesn't give the natural flush it promises. As someone who wears makeup every day, I was excited about the concept of a skincare infused blush, hoping it would benefit my skin compared to traditional options. However, after trying it on, I noticed the color faded within a couple of hours. If you're looking for a long-lasting blush that delivers a radiant, rare beauty effect, this product might not be the right choice. This one says, don't get me wrong, I'm obsessed with Glow Recipe. I love every single product I've gotten from them. The second I saw this, I had to get it. It just arrived and it was the sheerest blush I've ever put on my face. I got this for a natural, no makeup look, but it just disappears. I'm super pale, so I know I got the right shade. It also doesn't have the same watermelon smell that all the Glow Recipes products do. This is super disappointing for the price and I will be returning. Skip this and get Benetint. Then let's take a look at one more. They said, bought this, used it for 2 days. Now I have redness and red spots, not quite zits, in the exact area I used it in. Not sure if it's the skincare ingredients in it, but I'm disappointed. The color is nice though. So again, that's just a sampling, but all of them touched on the main issues that people had with this blush. The first one being that this creates breakouts for some people. And interestingly enough, this was not just oily skin people complaining about it, it was also dry skin people. So it was just across the board people complaining about breakouts with this. The other complaint was that it was orange. So all of those were talking about the Watermelon Glow shade, which, to be fair, on the website, it claims to be a cool tone pink. So I totally get the disappointment there. Personally, I was happy with the berry shade because I think it's this beautiful cool tone mauve. I like it, so no issues there. And when I went to apply this, I actually thought it applied beautifully. It does have a dewy feel similar to their dewdrops, but just in blush form. And it does have the watermelon scent, so I'm not sure what that other person was talking about. Like, I can smell it pretty strongly. For me, this blended out really easily with a brush or my fingers, and I didn't notice it breaking up my foundation underneath. I thought it gave me a really natural looking flush with a little bit of a glow, like not shimmer or glitter or anything, just dewiness from the hydration that the product gives you. I also thought that it did feel dewy upon application, but not sticky, not to the point where it was bugging me. It was just more of a moisturized feeling, so I did like that. And I did think that it looked really pretty initially, but I do have to agree with the commenters who said that this doesn't last a long time. Personally, I thought that the 12-hour claims were ridiculous. I didn't even get like 2 hours out of this blush, and I'm not sure if that's because it's so emollient or if there's not a lot of pigment in here, but either way, it just did not hold up. And another thing that I think is kind of ridiculous and very gimmicky about this blush is the whole like fading dark spots on your cheeks claim. It's just kind of out there because yes, this has niacinamide in it, which can fade dark spots. But here's the thing. If you do have dark spots on your cheeks and you want to fade them, you're not going to be like, oh, let me go put on my dark spot fading blush. Like, you're going to pick a serum or some type of skincare that has more potent active ingredients in it, like niacinamide, vitamin C, kojic acid. Like there are so many products that you can get, and you can get them cheaply too from brands like The Ordinary, that I think are just going to be more effective as your skincare than trying to fade your dark spots by using a blush. I think the whole skincare blush concept is just something that they wanted to use to set this apart from other liquid blushes that are on the market. And I totally get it. The market is very saturated, so do what you have to do. But I just want you guys to keep in mind that you don't need niacinamide in a blush to like fade your dark spots. Most of us, I think if that's something that you want to do, you're already using skincare to attack the problem. So I don't think that that's necessarily a reason to run right out and buy this. Now, to be fair to the brand, they did say that this is a sheer blush. It's more of like, it's supposed to be like skincare. So the negative reviews who said that this isn't pigmented or they were expecting it to be like Rare Beauty, I think they just probably didn't read the description. The whole vibe of this product is just like someone else said, it's marketed toward that clean girl aesthetic that's on TikTok, where people are wearing very minimal makeup and they just have their glowy skincare and they want to add a little bit of flush to their cheeks. That's what this is about. It's not supposed to be a full coverage liquid blush like e.l.f. or Rare Beauty or anything. So if that's what you're into, I would definitely skip this one. But if you love that super subtle, no makeup kind of a vibe, you might like this. Just keep in mind that it may not last that long. You might have to reapply throughout the day. So anyway, guys, that is all that I have for today's video. I hope that this was helpful and that it was fun. Like I said, reading the negative reviews is always way more helpful for me because I can kind of figure out what the issues might be ahead of time and then decide, does this sound like something that would work for me based on my skin type? It's also important, I think, to look at the reviewer if it mentions what skin type they have, because if you have dry skin like I do and you see all of the oily people saying this is too greasy for me, then it might actually be something that I really love. And if you see people with dry skin saying this is so dry, it looks terrible, then it might be something that you want to skip. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I truly appreciate you being here, and especially if you made it to the end, thank you so much. If you do have some extra time and you'd like to watch another video, I did just do one recently about all of my favorites from Sephora, my top 10. So I'll put that right there in case you want to check that out next. And I hope all of you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next. Take care, guys. Bye.